Hello, everyone, and welcome to Astrology Saturday with your host with the most, Chad the Maverick. Thank you all so much for coming in and showing up to this lovely live stream that we are having today. We're going to be talking about the Pisces new moon, which is happening right now as we speak, right? The Pisces new moon is very much going to be about how are you building and bridging in all that you want to create for the next upcoming 6 months at the very least, right? We are at the very end, towards the very end of Pisces season as well. By the next time I come live for you all, it will be the beginning of Aries season. So welcome in to everyone. Happy, beautiful Saturday. Facts. It is a happy, beautiful Saturday. It's a happy, beautiful Astro Saturday, as a matter of fact. So we're about to get into this very, very soon. Just letting everyone roll in. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. Someone said it's their birthday today. Happy solar return to you. Hope everything's going well for you. We're going to, like I said, be talking about this new moon and Pisces phase, leading us into this astrological new year by next week, right? So I think if you've been watching this and you've been following these live streams that I've been doing, in January I was talking about around New Year's time frame that although it was the new year, it wasn't necessarily going to be the energetic new year as much as it is coming up for Aries season. Someone said it's their birthday tomorrow on Pi Day. Happy birthday to you as well. Happy birthday to all the Pisces that are here. This is the upcoming, is the end of the season, but it's not the end for obviously celebrating. So congratulations on the next year of life for all the Pisces here in the chat. But getting into the next portion, right? This new moon is very critical as far as bridging in the dream life that you want to create over the next 6 months or so. And if you went to my class yesterday on the Pisces new moon, you were able to see and really understand all of the depths behind it, right? Someone said down in the chat, Pisces, become aware and feel. Aries, the season is take action. Amazing. That's literally what I was just trying to get at as far as like the ending of this year into the astrological new year. So that's actually a really good way to actually frame that. So thank you so much. But Pisces season is to become aware of your emotions, your feelings, your intuitions, right? And whereas Aries season is the time frame where you're supposed to like go ahead and push that forward, push that out. And that's, like I said, starting next week. So this is the like final week and the final culmination. And right now during this new moon in Pisces, this is the best time to put in those good intentions towards the universe. If you have any form of like candle magic that you like to work with, if you like to work with your crystals, anything along the lines of that, if you do affirmations, this is a great time to do things along the lines of that, because what you do and what you like start to bridge in as far as your feelings and as far as like the worth that you have, that's going to be pushing forward into the next space, which is going to be this next astrological new year. So when you're talking about 2020 didn't even end until like 2020 technically, in my personal opinion, ends around like that March 1st, 21st time frame. Not to say that it's going to automatically change, right? Not to say that it automatically change, not to say anything else like that. But it is going to be bridging us into a new realm of energy, a new year of actual like energy, of vibes and etc., right? Someone said that they missed a class and they bought it. If you missed a class and you bought it, send an email out to events@House Intuition LA and we will take care of you. Just be sure that you send that email out. But outside of that, right? So getting more into this week, we have Neptune and Venus also on this new moon in Pisces. So I'm going to be very straightforward with you all. If you have been feeling off, if you've been feeling any form of weirdness in the last few days, if you've been feeling very emotional, very sensitive, very just like almost like there's a certain like overwhelming sense of feeling, right? This is what spirit is trying to have you do, right? Is tap deeper into spirit. But in order for you to tap deeper into spirit, it honestly will like remove you from parts of your like human ego to do so. And this is very disorienting for a lot of people, especially for people that aren't necessarily spiritual or may not even have a certain practice, right? Because for people that have no idea about this energy, like they're probably in a certain form of shamble. Now, for people who are aware, for you who have been watching the astrology, for those of you who have been doing the work that you're supposed to be doing for your spirit, you're still affected by it, but you're at least going to be aware of these things happening, right? And the awareness is, I think, one of the most key things that astrology is able to show and to give people. It's like, this is the awareness of what's coming through. This is the awareness of what's happening. So once more, because Neptune and Venus is here, this is going to be working on, as I mentioned in my class yesterday, the lower heart and the higher heart, right? But speaking of classes, let me get into the next classes that we have coming up, right? So if you haven't been aware, I started the Tarot 101 series. So that is going to be happening on Mondays, right? We just did the first inkling of that last week, and we talked about the suits in the tarot. So we talked about the wands, the cups, pentacles, all what those mean, the swords as well. Talk about all of that, what that meant, and we got into the basics of tarot. But this week we're going to be getting into the major arcana and the story of the major arcana from the Fool to the end of it, right? So we're going to be talking about all of that coming up on Monday, and for the next 3 weeks we have that. And on Wednesday we do have the last week of the Astrology 102 series. But here's the thing about the Astrology 102 series. If you know anything about astrology already, right? If you at least can understand astrology, if you know what a house is, if you know what a sign is, if you know what an element is in astrology, if you know the basics principles behind these things, please pull through to the last class. You want to know why? Because I'm going to be teaching you all how to read a birth chart. So if you actually know how the first inklings of it, I'm going to be walking you all step by step at things that you should look at to read a birth chart. So if you want to actually know what's going on and be oh, this Mercury is sextile and this Venus, and that's why this is effect is happening. I'm literally going to be teaching you all what you should look at, certain techniques that you should check out for, and ways that you can even get into deeper layers of it, because everyone reads differently. So I'll be able to just give you the introduction on that for the last day of the Astrology 102. So that's the class coming up on Monday, right? Monday is going to be the Tarot 101. Which is going to be the next class. And then on Wednesday is going to be the Astrology 102, which is about reading a birth chart. But like I said, even if you haven't been to the classes beforehand, you're good. But if you have been to the classes beforehand, you're going to be reading everyone's charts around you verbatim. So I'm really, really hyped for y'all. But outside of that, right? Now that I've mentioned that, because I started talking about classes. But Venus and Neptune once more, just to wrap back to it. Venus and Neptune is about the lower heart and the higher heart. The lower heart being Venus, the higher heart being Neptune, right? And what I mean by higher heart is this is the heart that connects you to spirit. This is the love, the unconditional love, right? Versus the love, which is the Venus, which is what you like on a physical plane, what you like on things that are around you, right? Venus is hey, I like this energy when it comes to these things, right? Whereas Neptune is you are embracing this unconditional love from this energy type of deal, right? So Neptune being in Pisces, which has been in Pisces, the sun and moon being here, Pisces is a very strong wish element energy, right? Very strong wish energy, very strong fantasy, bringing in your imagination form of energy. And the reason why this new moon in Pisces is so important to really launch off what you feel and really launch off what's going on is because this is what's going to be circling around for at least the next 6 months of time. So if you put in this energy out into the world about your greatest desires, your greatest truths, what you really feel resonates with your heart, what you really feel going to that. Now there will be inklings of this thing starting to already happen by the next 2 weeks, right? So by the next 2 weeks, by the full moon, there will be the first steps of these things already happening. But by the next 6 months, so by Virgo season, right? By Virgo season, you're going to look at that and be or technically the full moon of Virgo. But regardless, by Virgo season, right? You're going to basically be wow. I'm sorry, new moon. But regardless, they're wow, this really has changed. There is a lot of difference to this, right? So that's the reason why it's so important to, once more, get really tapped into spirit, get really tapped into source. And honestly, this is one of those things where sometimes you can just do it a wish. If you're someone who uses the candle, be sure to grab that new moon in Pisces candle, get that going and get those intentions out. But honestly, this is one of those new moons where honestly you can even just feel it out. Right? What do you feel as far as your greatest desire? What do you feel as far as what you need to bridge in from the universe, right? I think there's a lot of connection to the universe, which happens because of Neptune. The veil is super thin, right? So like I said, if you've been feeling wonky, if you've been feeling off, if you've been feeling very emotional, these are very critical timings for that, because this is trying to show you your spirit. This is trying to show you parts of your soul and just how you interact with that before once more we get into Aries season, where you start to all the feelings that you get within the next week or two, where you're a little bit off and trying to figure out what the energy's going to. All those questions will be answered in Aries season when you take off or you take forward with the identity that you end up discovering from this. So like I said, feelings, emotional sensitivities. We're all going through these different type of things, all at varying levels. So be sure that you just like stay patient with the people that are around you. Everyone's in a certain form of like sensitivity due to these Pisces things. However, there's so much magic to be like created as well because of all this Pisces energy. So, and a lot of that has to do, if you really want to manifest, you have to feel the things that you want to manifest. So that's something that's really, really important. Someone mentioned a moldavite crystal would be perfect to work with right now. Do not work with that if you're not ready for it. That's one thing I've been seeing. I've been seeing that a lot on like a lot of social media. Do not work with that crystal if you're not ready for it. I suggest people to get a tektite first. If you can get a tektite, which is it's basically the regular darker stone rendition of it. If you can get a tektite and you can work with a tektite and that works out well for you, cool. I would suggest that you get the moldavite next thing that you're ready. So a tektite is a moldavite. It's the same type of meteor that came down. Because technically moldavite is from a meteor. So tektite is the same type of stone or the same type of meteor, so to speak. Moldavite is specific. But moldavite is very, very high vibrational. And it can definitely disorient you if you are not honestly prepared for it. And I've been seeing that a lot on like TikTok. I've been seeing that a lot on like random stuff around, and I know a lot of people have been experiencing it. But just to let you all know, if you are not ready for that, and if you think you're ready for it, and it doesn't resonate with you, you're not. Like, sincerely, if you see it and it speaks to you and you pick it up, perfect, go for it, right? That makes sense. But if you're just like, I've seen this before and I kind of want to do it, don't do it. In my personal opinion, it's not worth it if you're not completely grounded or ready for the experience. That's a super sidebar, but I just wanted to like let that know. It's called tektite. It's TEKTITE. And you can get it at house. Actually, we have them at house for the most part. It should be in the root chakra section or the crown chakra section. But regardless, yeah, I definitely wanted to let that know because a lot of people have been mentioning it, like, oh, I want to get this, and like moldavite is very powerful. It will wreck you if you are not prepared. That's the reason why I want to frame it that way. But what I do want to say though is that honestly, if you want the effects of moldavite, Neptune right now is doing that for everybody. Like Neptune is doing this already for everyone, right? Like there's a lot of like power that is actually happening, activating like within the heart, and that is expelling from there. So like that is already organically happening from this guy. One thing that I do have to mention though is that with this new moon in Pisces and all its energy, we do have a couple of things that are coming up within the week that are going to be really highlighted as well. I wanted to put this as a new moon in Pisces because this is the last week of Pisces season. So this is the last week to really get tapped into that intuition, get tapped into those sensitivities, those emotions that you want to like propel forward. This is like the last like energies for you to like really hone that in. Because, and I'm going to explain like the week, so I'll show you like what steps are going to be happening as far as the astrology is concerned, but I do want to like premise you all with that. Now, getting into it, I mentioned the new moon in Pisces that's happening again, etc. So, on the second part, right, the Venus is going to be conjuncting Neptune become tomorrow, right? So once more, all these dream things are happening. With Venus making this conjunction to Neptune, this is a very this is a sacrificing to higher love, right? For the collective, like sacrificing literally to the higher love. If you almost, what I was coming into me when I'm saying this, if you refuse to love something or like allow yourself to love something because of the way that other people see you for loving that thing, this is like one of those days where it's like, nope, I'm going to go for it and just like love that thing. I'm thinking of I'm going to continuously like love what I love, right? So if you like something like a show and everyone's like, why do you like that show? Or like, I'm gonna use Nickelback for an example because why not? But like someone was like, oh, you still like Nickelback? You gotta be like, yes I do. Like if that's the case, right? And like I said, it's a silly example, but it's one of those things where you're gonna really be able to push that forward. Actually, I forgot to pin this on the comment. 1 second. Cool. Oh wait, boom, boom. 1 second. Perfect. I just want to make sure that was pinned there. But yeah, so someone just said they love Nickelback, right? But the whole idea behind it is that it's like you can't allow other people to be like, you can't love this thing, or you can't allow other people to be like, why do you still like that? Like you have to continuously push that forward if that's something that you truly enjoy. So this is a day tomorrow which is like, what do you really enjoy? What does your heart actually ring for? What resonates with you? Have you ever went inside of a place, and as soon as you went inside a place that you like a lot, you just like feel, you just like feel like all the energy, like you feel better, you feel excited, you feel like ready to go and like do whatever the thing is? This is the type of energy where it's like you need to recognize this into even like the smaller things within your life, right? It could be as simple as you being like, hey, I like to use a fork instead of a spoon for this dish. Like, it could be that dumb. Or it could be that deep as far as like, hey, like, I really want to be able to like love this person, but you know, family might not agree, this, that, and the third. Like, this is for you to like continuously take the whole like unconditional love portion and pushing that forward, right? That's what I'm like trying to pretty much mention with this. And because the moon is in Aries coming into tomorrow as well, this takes a double approach as far as like you have to really resonate with what you love, right? You have to really resonate with what you feel in that regard. So that's what's going to be coming up pretty much tomorrow. And this is coming off of the heels of the new moon in Pisces that I was just mentioning. Appreciate the love in the chat. Thank you. Doing my, just got to do the thing. But getting into the next section, right? So after this Venus conjunct Neptune, right? You might be thinking, wow, we had 4 things in Pisces. That's wild. So many things in Pisces, right? Mercury goes into Pisces on the 15th. So basically on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Monday, right? We have Mercury going into Pisces as well. So Mercury has been in Aquarius for the past few weeks, right? With Mercury that was in Aquarius for the past few weeks, we've getting into like new unconventional conversations. We've been aligning with people that are going to be closer to like our communities. We've been thinking outside of the box as far as everything else like that, expressing our opinions to people, especially through like online means and etc. A lot of those themes started popping off. With Mercury going into Pisces though, this is like, Mercury is at its best, quote unquote, in Virgo, right? I don't know if you remember Virgo season. I would have my Virgo glasses on and I got really analytical with like all the things that were happening. But when it comes to Mercury and Pisces is very much more akin to like, I keep thinking high priestess energy. Like the reason why I'm saying that is because it's like, it's about you communicating this higher facet of what's going on and about how you feel as well. And this is going to be coming off the heels once more of this new moon in Pisces, all this Neptune, all this other energy. Someone said another birthday is 3/15. Happy birthday to you. But yeah, so like all of that form of energy is and has been, you know, working through. So getting by the time Mercury's in Pisces, you're going to be communicating the things that you didn't even realize that you were feeling before, but now you're going to have a means to communicate it, right? So you've been feeling those feelings and you're like, I don't know how to express this, right? Mercury in Pisces is going to allow you to actually express what you legitimately feel to other people, right? Getting you more tapped into everything else like that or along the lines of that, right? So that's something that really is happening with that regard. Now, because Mercury's entering Pisces, this is also a good thing to put how do you spell the other Moldavite crystal? It's TEKTITE, I think. No, I'm pretty sure it's Tektite. I'm more than sure that's how you spell it. But just look up Tektite. And if you can work with Tektite, thank you so much for typing that down. But if you can work with Tektite and that resonates with you and works with you and you really think that you can go to the next thing, do that. But I do not recommend you just going in and just hop into there. I really don't. It's a great stone. It's immaculate to like work with if you are knowing what you're trying to go for. But if not, Tektite first. Trust. Outside of that, right? Getting into the next portion, the next bit of this. Mercury's going into Pisces. Everyone's communicating from this personal and this love and this sensitivity space. Now we're going into the next day where the sun's going to be making a sextile to Pluto before it starts to go into Aries, right? So now, sun, sextile to Pluto. If you've been coming to my classes, you know a sextile is an opportunity. If you've also been coming to my classes, you know that Pluto is going to be the planet of transformation. So if the sun is sextiling Pluto, then that means that the emotional world, the spiritual world that we have been living in for this past month is making an opportunity with Pluto and Capricorn, which is completely, I would honestly say, resurfacing the way that you view these Capricorn-like themes. So this is work, this is status, this is your legacy, right? So there's an opportunity to almost revamp your legacy in a certain way. And when it comes to this March 16th time space, right? And what this is doing is that this is bridging you closer to that dream that you probably were trying to push forward in this new moon in Pisces phase, right? So now with the sextile working together with that, this is you being able to take the dreams and solidifying and blueprinting those certain aspects and those certain regards that you want to, right? Which is super cool. Mind you, the moon will still be in Aries at this time frame. So with the moon still in Aries, it's still time for you to like be who you are, right? Every moon in Aries is very much just like aggressively themselves. So with that being said, which is super cool because no one can tell them what they're not. You know what I mean? Which is amazing. So when it comes to like having like this Aries moon energy, it's really much about pushing forward this identity and this warrior spirit that you have towards what it is that you actually want to create. And I always talk about creation. I always talk about that. We are all creators and making the things that we want, right? We're always manifesting what we desire. So that's part of this process and why I explain it with that, right? There's so many birthdays here today. Oh, happy birthday to everybody. Yo, there's mad birthdays here. What's up? Shouts out to the Pisces and your birthdays. Thank you for being all mystical and helping us all up. But yeah, so now that we talked about the 16th a little bit, right? Let's get into the 17th, which is going to be the day afterward. So now on the 17th, what's happening? We have the moon in Taurus passing by Uranus and Lilith, right? So the moon in Taurus is going to basically be hitting this Uranus portion. And from my understanding and from my observations, whenever the moon has been hitting Uranus recently, right? You really get like, it's almost like I don't want to say sidetracked, but I'm going to say sidetracked. Because the reason why I want to say that is because it's like, if you ever seen a show or I watched like a show, I'm thinking of an anime in particular, but like if you're watching like a show or something and there's like a filler time frame, or there's like like something happens and you go into some random other thing and it's just episodes that have almost nothing to do with the rest of the plot of everything else, but they still are kind of important, but you're also like, what's going on? I feel like the moon making this thing over to Uranus is kind of like putting you into this like other realm of like, wait a second, why am I even here? I'm not a particular show in general, but this is just a plot. This is a plot point that happens in a lot of them. But basically, like the way that this ends up happening is that it's like, okay, now you're going on this other side thing, but the side thing is going to be teaching you the qualities that you need to have and also teaching you your worth. I think that's a very important thing as well. I think a lot of being taught worth is going to be very prevalent over this moon and Taurus phase, especially for those who resonate with the divine feminine, because this is also going to be running over Lilith as well on that same day or within that same time frame. Samurai Champloo facts. But regardless, right? Great show. So everyone should watch that just because it's a good show. But outside of that, right? Getting into the next part. With this Lilith section as well, Lilith is going to be having the divine feminine really stand into their power for like their resources, right? So if you haven't been getting the resources or you haven't been getting the material or the supplies you've been needing, you resonate with that energy, this is the time frame where you're like, give me that. You know what I'm saying? And like this whole idea behind it is that you're supposed to be like getting and gaining what you find not just valuable to you, but what's also going to be lasting as a resource for you as well. So that's something that's very prevalent coming into that. Now, getting into the 18th, right? So on the 18th, we have Venus making a sextile to Pluto, and we also have Mars making a sextile to Chiron. So what does this mean? Let me explain. So and the reason why I even say these things beforehand is because I want people to like, for those who understand, I want people to just hear these different aspects and then get their own interpretations on how they can start looking at these things as well. Mind you, I am an astrologer, but my interpretation is my interpretation. However, your interpretation will have the same weight and effect as long as you know how the energies work, which is why I was teaching throughout the whole Astrology 101 and Astrology 102, right? But regardless, to the next part. Venus sextile Pluto. This is the heart making a new opportunity to delve into new transformation, right? Deeper transformation, more profound transformation. This will be following off the heels of the sun that just did that, right? So whereas your identity is like, hey, I want to put my legacy into that thing. This is the day where your heart's like, I guess my legacy is going to be with that thing, right? Someone said they need to start taking all my classes. Facts. Like, we have a good time. We have a great time. For those of you who have been there, I know a couple of y'all are in the chat that have been to the class yesterday. We went off yesterday. I appreciate the heart. See, that's what I'm saying. Like we went off yesterday. We had a great time showing all that. So yeah, if you have time to come through to the classes, I have Tarot 101 on Monday, and I have the Read Your Birth Chart class on Wednesday. All of that's going to be on the House Intuition website. So be sure to check that out there. They're only $10 a piece, and I go off for like an hour. I'm still on the 18th. I'm still on the 18th. I got you. No worries. Thank you for Earth checking me. But when it comes to the 18th, right? On the 18th, Venus sextile Pluto, Mars sextile Chiron. Like I said, like the emotions, all that stuff is going to be like starting to align more to that legacy, starting to align more with that like dream thing that you're trying to create, right? Now, Mars sextile Chiron, this is going to be your vitality having the opportunity to transform itself towards what it is that you actually want to create. Chiron's still in Aries, and Chiron has been in Aries for a while. I will mention Chiron in Aries as much as I need to. And the reason why is because this is trying to get people tapped into their identity no matter what. No matter how much it hurts for you to be you, you need to be you. That's pretty much what Chiron is trying to say with this like Chiron and Aries portion, right? And the reason why I want to put it like this is because it's like Mars making a sextile to Chiron, you're going to be revamping and getting a new opportunity to be a stronger rendition of you, to communicate a stronger rendition of who you are, because Mars is in Gemini. So you're going to be able to really like push forward that form of energy when it comes to this, right? Now, getting in towards the end of the week, right? Getting towards the end of the week. We are about to go into Aries season come the 20th, right? The 20th Aries season begins. And the last day before we get into Aries season, we have the moon in Gemini going over Mars and the North Node. So now the moon is going past Mars and the North Node. So what I really sense coming in at the final bits of like Pisces season is like, how are you going to push forward your truth and be in that truth, right? How are you going to like push forward the things that you want to say and be what it is that you want to say? So that's something I'm definitely seeing in regards to like pushing all of these energies towards the next, right? Now with the North Node, Destiny is also being activated. So all this stuff. Now here's where we tie this all together. If you've been watching this entire live stream, you will see how this all ties together. From what I was talking about with the new moon in Pisces, all these manifestations, everything else along the lines of that. By the last day of Pisces season, the moon is literally going over the point of destiny. Right. So now all this like manifestation and pushing out into the universe and what you really like truly want, your heart's desire, right, is going to then honestly get quote unquote solidified by this like this North Node portion. And then the next day, and then in the last 29-degree point of Pisces season, we're then going into Aries season right after that. So now, right after all this manifestation, all this magic, all this sensitivity, all this not knowing, all this, feelings and just that, right? Aries season comes along, and then you're going to be standing into the power of that. So be sure to check this out, or check out the next live stream that I do on Saturday, because I will be talking about the spring equinox and Aries season and everything else that comes along with Aries season, the spring equinox, etc. The astrological new year is approaching, so be sure to stay tuned for that. For those of you who have stayed in this whole time, I appreciate it. If you just popped in, regardless, I do appreciate it. Any stones for healing? One of my like favorite stones for healing, as far as like if you haven't had one, is a clear quartz. You can't go wrong with a clear quartz. This is for a lot of other uses as well than just healing, but clear quartz is probably going to be a great go-to if you want to just use that. But like I said, be sure to pop into a House Intuition, ask around, and they will definitely show you what specific crystal that you might need to bring you into the next step. But always, but in general for crystal picking, which I did a class on at one point, but in general for crystal picking, I honestly just suggest if you see something and you pick it up and you resonate with it, that's your crystal. Take it with you. Buy it. like literally, like if there's something that you really like, yo, what's this? You pick it up and you're like, yo, I feel it. Buy it. like that's, and you'll realize why you need it later on. But that's just like my like rule of thumb when it comes to this. But yeah, I appreciate you all for showing up once again. For those who are trying to find like me by any chance, my name's Chad the Maverick across the board, Instagram, all that good stuff. But outside of that, I appreciate you all for showing up. Please be sure to show up for the classes on tarot and the last astrology class of the Astrology 102, where I'll be teaching you how to read a birth chart. But outside of that, peace out to you all. Much love, and I hope you all have a fantastic end to your Pisces season and begin to your astrological new year. So, have a great one, and see you next week for the Astrology Saturday. Peace out.